I rode into town today. In my mind I said, Lord, I'd love to stay. Something in me said, oh, move on. Don't know what it is, the good Lord bred it in my bones.
The phone rang, and I could tell immediately on the phone a voice I recognized from the past. One of my very best friends named Bill Williams called me at my desk there in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. He merely said this, Kevin, I just want to call and let you know, before you hear from somebody else, that Tony, his wife, Tony, used to be Tony Robertson, had just passed away. Of course, I was shocked. I did not even know this. Tony was ill. But he said later on that she had fought a very courageous battle with breast cancer, and he kind of went into the story of it all. But it brought my heart. I called Bruce Carver, the athletic director there at Hobbs High School, and he told me already in the works was a plan for Coach Tone and Jim Browning to get together Coach Tone's teams from the 70s. Now I thought that was cool, but I hadn't heard about it. And I said, when's this going to happen? He said in 2 weeks. 2 weeks? I thought no one knows about this. So I kind of stuck my big nose in the whole plan, and I asked Jim and asked Bruce Carver, would they mind delaying it for 1 year so we could get the word out to more people, and they kindly consented to do that, and I appreciate Judge Jim Browning. He's our new federal judge in Albuquerque. I'm so proud of Jim Browning, and I'm so appreciative of it. Sheriff, thank you for your help. Let's give Sheriff a big hand right now. This is me, okay?
Yay, Sherry!
We had the wife of Coach Kyle Ellis. I think she's up here. Beverly, you want to come and say something? I think Beverly's going to come and say something. Okay.
He loved you very much. He couldn't leave Hobbs when it was over, and we stayed here. He was a very good father, and we had a daughter, and she married a coach, and he became Kyle's son. And I'd like for them to tell you a little bit about it.
Ever since I was little, and I know most of you saw me when I was little because that's all I've heard for the last 2 days. I can remember when you were this big. This morning at the sports facility, a gentleman helped my 2-year-old up. He had fallen down and was crying, and he ran over and helped him up, and he had no idea who he was. And I went over and got him, and he said, now who are you? You don't look like you're from the 70s. I said, no sir, I'm not. I graduated in '88 from Hobbs, but my dad is Kyle Ellis. And you could just see the emotion go through his body. He said, your dad was awesome. It was Vernon Patterson, and he's here tonight. He said, your dad made me the football player that I was. He called me the Intimidator. And he said, and I became the Intimidator on the field. Well, later, after we went home, Mom said, do you remember that little Barbie doll that you used to have when you were little that was a little track star? And I said, well, yeah, I actually do. And she said, well, you know, his name was Vernon. And I said, is that why I named him Vernon? And she said, yeah, it was, because of Vernon Patterson. So, Mr. Patterson, just so you know that there's a Barbie doll out there with your name on it, probably still in our attic somewhere. But I have a 2-year-old, or we have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old, and my dad died almost a year ago. And my 2-year-old is really not ever going to know my dad. So if there is a story or a lesson or anything that my dad taught you, I would love for you to write it down for me, because I'm going to put it in a book for my boys so they will know their granddad, even though he's still not here. Thank you.
My name is Ronnie, and I'm married to Tara, and Kyle and Beverly, of course, been instrumental to me. I can tell you, as a coach to his former players and to the coaches that he coached with, you know Kyle, he never had anything negative to say about anybody. He was always extremely positive and technical. I know that we talked football all the time, and we had kind of similar backgrounds with the things we did, and he would talk to me about these steps or those steps. He talked about games they would win and lose by matters of inches. On behalf of Beverly and Tara, like I said, they do appreciate the warmth and the spirit that y'all have shown them, especially as I said, when Kyle passed away almost a year ago, and it's amazing the lives that he touched, and we thank you.
Another coach we lost was Coach George James, and his wife Alma James preceded him in death a number of years ago, but Matt and Pepper James are his kids, and they have been contacted. Matt James wanted to be here tonight, but he's actually the head football coach at a little 2A school up in Colorado, and guess what? He's having a preseason scrimmage this very night as we speak, so we let Matt off the hook. But we love the James family, Coach Ellis, and Coach Graves. They made an impact on our lives, and we love them for that. And we're going to honor some more. Pat Tom was later named head coach of the Eagles in the spring of 1972 after Etheridge left for Texas, and Coach Williams named his assistants Kyle Ellis, George James, and Charlie Williams. Coach Tone and his staff managed to pull everything back together and went on to successfully claim the title of New Mexico State Champions of November 1976, defeating a much larger, cockier team, Las Cruces Mayfield 31-50, but the game really wasn't that close. Coach Tone was named Coach of the Year for that campaign. In 1975, Coach Tone moved to Iowa Park, to Texas to coach 2 more years. In 78, Coach Tone went to Plainview, Texas to coach with another 7 or 8 years, until he moved back to Taylor to serve as assistant principal and retired in 1993. In his 30 years of coaching, Coach Tone has seen over 100 of his football players to go on and play college football. Coach Tone, we love you and your lovely wife, and I still can't believe you didn't call X-Rite past 319 every series of downs. That was my play. I'm working through it, and I forgive you. Coach Tone, we love you. Would you like to say something?
Called me, said, hey, I want to come by and visit with you a little bit about the possibility of going to Hobbs. So we met at the field house to discuss a coaching job in Hobbs, New Mexico. After visiting with him and discussing the job, he offered me the first assistant job, and that I would be working with nothing but football. Before accepting, I asked Coach Etheridge, and I said, Coach, how long do you anticipate it taking us to get a winning football team? He whirled around there and he looked at me eyeball to eyeball and he said, this coming year. And needless to say, I took the job. Now there in Carrizo Springs, I was head coach, and Kyle Ellis was my first assistant. And at the time, he had been coaching in Monahans also, so Doug decided to talk to him about coming to Hobbs. So Doug made the decision to take he and I to Hobbs with him. So I went home, and my wife Phyllis and I packed up our 3-year-old twin boys and moved our belongings to Hobbs, New Mexico. Coach Etheridge was right. We had a winning team the first year. We played well, ended up playing Artesia for the district championship. We had a very successful year. Let me tell you, I think about the Hobbs Eagles every morning when I get up and get dressed. State championship ring, I look at them, and every time I do, I remind me of the Hobbs Eagles. I want to thank the wonderful fans and boosters of Hobbs, and especially all of the kids, in parentheses, of that era of the Hobbs Eagles. You're the ones that made it a success. You're the ones that created the memories that we're here to celebrate. And I want to say thanks to my wife for 42 years, Phyllis, for sticking by a coach like me. Thank you.
Last announcement. All you football players, the head football coach here at Hobbs asked me this morning to ask you to come to the locker room at 7:35 tomorrow night. He wants you to be in the locker room to talk to his players right before they go out on the field and play that game. So he wants to get some energy from you. He wants you to rub off on his players. So 7:35 tomorrow night. Thank you for putting up with me, and I appreciate your kindness and courtesy. Thank you, coaches, very much, and wives too.
I would like to lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Before we get started, I want you to know I'm not a very good speaker, but we'll get through this. Hello, Hobbs, New Mexico! My God, there's a whole lot of Hobbs Eagles out there tonight, and we're proud to see everybody. My name is Tom Garrett, class of 1973, the member of the 1972 class 4A football champions. I graduated in May of 1973 and joined the United States Army in June of 1973. Throughout my career of 21 plus years, I have seen a large part of the United States and Western Europe. I have worked with the Danish, the German, the Italian, the English, and the Canadian military. I have to say that America has got the best equipped, most dedicated, best trained, and most professional military in the world. When Sherry asked me to speak here at this great gathering, I was dumbfounded. She asked me to speak about freedom and the great Americans that serve in our military. At first, I was shocked. I was thinking, what could I say that anyone would want to hear? And it came to me. Just tell them about the great Americans that serve in our military to keep us safe from our enemies. As we sit here tonight, we have young men and women fighting and dying to keep us safe from our enemies and try to show the world that there is a better way of life. Right now, there is young men and women, 18, 19, and 20 years old, that are making decisions that could be the difference between life or death. Ladies and gentlemen, I am glad those young people are on our side.
From the 70s here. It's great to be a Hobbs Eagle. And you're the ones that help make the Hobbs Eagles what they are. So you should be the one getting the recognition. I just want to add a couple of words concerning Coach Tasker. He was a very special person. He was a common man with an uncommon understanding of right and wrong. He practiced the golden rule. Coach Tasker was truly one of a kind. And I would be remiss if I didn't remind all of you that Coach Tasker, besides being the coach of the Hobbs Eagles, always felt like cheerleaders, Taskervich, sixth man, were all part of the Hobbs Eagles team. And as a result, you all had a real important part in the success they had. And I'm going to end on this. I think the 1970 Hobbs Eagle basketball team started to set the tone for the entire
70s classes. The district championship game was played over in Carlsbad. At halftime, we had 69 points. The third quarter, we scored 50 points. Fourth quarter, we scored 51 points. And we ended up beating Carlsbad 170 to 104. And that 1970 team won the state championship, and they average and still have a national average of 114.6 points per game. And so the 1970s are a very special part of the Hobbs Eagle tradition, and I want to wish you all a very enjoyable evening. It's great to be a Hobbs Eagle.